Hello, my movie peeps. Appreciate you clicking on this review. I just got done watching The Marvels, and with this movie that is technically a Captain Marvel sequel, we follow not only Captain Marvel herself, played by Brie Larson, but also Monica Rambeau and Miss Marvel Kamala Khan. They find themselves entangled with an energy that constantly has them swapping places, while at the same time trying to stop an evil threat lurking around the cosmos. And that's all pretty much. Without any spoilers, so you guys, this will be a spoiler-free review. We're definitely gonna have to talk about spoilers when this movie's released, because those post-credit scenes are kind of fun. Some might say funner than the movie itself. That's up to you to decide. But alright, with my thoughts on The Marvels, I didn't really have my expectations this high for this movie. Well, I think there is a lot of exaggerated hate for the Captain Marvel movie, and Brie Larson herself especially. You can't even YouTube the poor actress's name without stumbling across a thumbnail with her having red eyes like she just killed puppies. Still, at the same time though, I wasn't all that thrilled with her Captain Marvel movie, so a sequel to it, I was like, okay, I guess I'll watch it. The thing that honestly drew me the most to want to see this movie was Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. Iman Vellani to me has been one of the most exciting new additions to the MCU. She just has this infectious energy, so that's kind of really what I wanted to see out of this movie, and to just maybe have some fun. The power switching in the trailers look cool. That's all I was expecting, just to have a little bit of fun. And you know what? For a good majority of the movie, it delivered what I wanted. Some great Iman Vellani scenes, some fun thrown in there, but there was also this jarring, super out there mess of editing, narrative, and just overall story structure I couldn't help but to ignore that really did hinder my excitement and enjoyment for this movie. Getting into the positives here before I dive into my negatives, yes, the dynamic in here between the three main leads is fantastic. When they're all together, using their powers, talking with one another, the chemistry, it was for sure a big positive of the movie, especially when it came down to the choreographed fight scenes. Oh, were they really fun. I think we could all imagine from the trailer there was exciting potential from characters being able to switch locations, intertwine with their powers, and how that could look in a fight scene. They use that to their full advantage. When the music gets going, they're swapping place to place, powers are going, enemies are being hit down. It is all very fun and creative. They were not lazy on that aspect. As expected, Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan is just so much fun. Her energy is so grand in the movie, you can't help but to smile along with her. She literally is the embodiment of a fan getting to be inside a movie. I'm starting to wonder if that's even the character or just the actress herself having fun being in a Marvel movie. And it's not just with the Miss Marvel character, it's her family that comes along with her from her TV series. They're sprinkled throughout the movie, and those characters are once again fun. You can tell these characters are not going to be put on the TV side of things anymore. From now on, these characters are going to be big movie stars, because you can feel that Kevin Feige and the Marvel team know what they have here with the Kamala Khan character. Brie Larson, I'm also going to say, was given a lot more to do in this movie. Although there's a lot of problems with the script when it came to what she can deliver on screen in terms of different emotions that some say was lacking in the past. Oh, she's great here. I would love to say the drama stuff was handled well too, but that comes into some of the narrative and script issues we'll talk about later. Unfortunately, Monica Rambeau, I feel she was kind of sidelined out of all the three. Not saying she was bad in the movie, but it felt like her character sometimes disappears throughout the course of the movie, and like she isn't given that much to do, and that becomes a problem when later on in the film they really want to hit an emotional punch with you. Her character, I think, also suffers the most from just being underdeveloped, mainly because the movie really relies on you doing your homework before seeing this, and while fans who have done their homework can get that full appreciation, there are small moments where she feels almost a little out of place, or like, where did this character come from? There is another big major positive thing I want to say about her character, but it would be a big spoiler, so I'll talk about that in the spoiler section. But really, to me, those were the things that made me go, yeah, I can see why someone walking in paying a ticket for this will go, that was fun, that was entertaining, it was a good time, because the cast is likable, there's cool action scenes, nice comedic moments, but when getting to my stuff I mixed a negative about, it was just kind of the jarring stuff I couldn't help but to like turn my brain off and ignore, because I'm just like, what has Marvel become? The Marvels to me was one of those first MCU movies that felt extremely different in its pacing and editing. The movie moves at such a rapid, quick pace, it feels like they trimmed so much fat from this movie, it's a little off. You're cutting from scene to scene, location to location, and it's all moving at such a rapid pace, you get the feeling that the movie is like rushing to get to the ending. There's a lot of strong moments that could have happened in this movie if the movie fleshed those stuff out a little bit. There's a backstory involved with Captain Marvel I was kind of interested in, and it makes sense. There's 30 years of time that has happened since the first Captain Marvel to this one, and when the movie is rushing through that exposition to fill you in on why the current threat is important, it doesn't feel that impactful. Same thing goes for Monica Rambeau and Captain Marvel. They're supposed to have this kind of tension, this almost small feud, and while we finally get that confrontation we've been waiting for, it's very short-lived and underdeveloped. I saw some people say this movie feels half-baked, and it completely feels that way, like they were not done making this movie, and the Marvel team just got out some scotch tape, staples, and we're like, all right, we'll put this together somehow and release it. The villain to me is also an extremely weak part of the movie, and although Marvel has faced criticisms like that before, you used to be able to say, this movie was awesome, it was a lot of fun, it was great, I love the story, the characters, villain was weak, but that's typical. Other than that, good movie. It's not like that anymore. As much as I love Nick Fury and Samuel L. Jackson, his character felt completely different than what we last saw in Secret Invasion. I understand the tones of the movies are very separate. This is very much a silly, goofy movie. There's a couple of sequences in there that are just gonna have people's eyes rolling, one involving a cat scene that I thought was kind of fun, but then there's also a planet of people that involves singing and dancing, and I know there's just gonna be some grumpy people that don't want to sit through that, and it's not even those silly moments that bring the movie down a notch. There's enjoyment to be had there when the rest of your movie and your story feel important, feel like we're actually seeing this movie for a purpose, but at the end of it, the Marvels doesn't feel like it has a purpose other than to set up something for something down the line, and that has been my biggest pet peeve with Marvel lately. Whether it's Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania, and now with the Marvels, it feels like their only purpose for existing is to be a setup for a bigger MCU movie down the line. The way this movie ends, in the post-credit scene they tease you with, are they exciting and do they get me going, oh, I can't wait to see what they do? Yes, but it feels like that's all the movie was leaning to, is just those moments to tease the fans, and this movie was a giant filler episode in the MCU. When I would argue Marvel wasn't always that way, they had very standalone movies with minor setup that was still exciting. And again, as I'm saying this, I want to make it clear, the Marvels isn't bad. I don't think this is a garbage movie. I think it's fine and it can be entertaining to people who just want to have fun, but I think it's still worth noting and talking about the giant dip in quality lately and how extremely rushed and messy Marvel movies are feeling. I mean, like, as I'm making this review, a news report just came out that Captain America 4 is going to be delayed 2 years to the year 2025, and that's because they need to do 4 to 6 months of reshoots because audiences did not like the movie. And with a lot of the okay, just fine Marvel movies we've gotten lately, this feels like a pattern that isn't going away because of how much content you're putting out there. Look, I love Marvel as much as the next person, and I know people get like really sensitive when you critique or be negative on Marvel because they just think you want to hate everything, when that's not what I'm attempting to do here. And what sucks the most is there's gonna be internet man babies that blame the failure of this movie on these wonderful actresses that are doing their absolute best and are actually making the movie enjoyable, but when they're given a mediocre script and story to follow, I mean, they can only do so much. So for the Marvels, I'm gonna give action 4 stars. I enjoyed a lot of the action scenes in here. I thought they did a great job with the power swapping, the choreography was nice, the camera work in it, really fun stuff. Comedy in the movie, I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. A lot of the comedy came from Iman Vellani, Kamala Khan, but I'm not gonna lie, there was about 3 or 4 jokes that landed a little awkwardly. Things like where Marvel purposely put in a pause hoping there'd be a big laugh from the audience, and it was silent in my theater sometimes. Drama in the movie, I'm gonna give it 2 stars. I really did not enjoy the story they had going on in here. Of course, I felt for the emotional connections between our main stars, but the overall threat, the villain, and what this movie was leading up to, big filler episode and setup for the next big movie instead of being a great contained story. Heart in the movie, I'm gonna give no stars to, and suspense in the movie, I'm gonna give it 2 stars because you don't really feel the threat. The movie has a very silly, goofy nature to it. It's just hard to keep you in suspense during some of those threatening moments. Casual fans into the MCU, I'm gonna give it a B-. This is another project where doing homework will just help you better like this movie. Casual fans, I'm gonna give it a C+, and critically, I'm going to give it a C-. For the Marvels, while I didn't hate it and I did have fun with it, I feel like fans would be okay just waiting to rent this or when it ends up on Disney+.
That'll do, Donkey. That'll do.
Again, that's just my opinion on the movie. I do think this is definitely better than Thor: Love and Thunder. To me, it's really on par with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, so take that information with what you will. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.